Right from the times airplanes were invented by the riders, have you ever wondered where old airplanes actually land? Because we actually have heard of the car dump yard in Dubai, stuff like that. But have you ever wondered what actually happens to an airplane after it gets spoiled? So today we'll go through that and see what happens to old airplanes. First of all, what is the lifespan of an airplane? Because you're often trying to wonder why did they need to spoil in the first place, right? The lifespan of an airplane is actually around 25 to 30 years, and it is measured based on their pressurization cycles, because the pressurization cycle is the amount of pressure mounted on an airplane both within and without it when it gets to the exact cruising altitude it actually cruising. And that pressurization cycle is what then determines how long an airplane will last. Let's say for example, Boeing's airplanes do last for like around 30 years, and that's because they often use like up to 150,000 preservation cycles, which is often more like 1,500 flights for their lifespan, which is actually, like you say, it's big, right? Yeah, it's big, but do you know that this is actually a really really dangerous thing? Airplanes getting spoiled is actually a really really dangerous thing, because if not properly checked before the airplane takes off, the chances of a crash happening is actually really really high. That's one. Second, it is actually going to cost the company more to buy a new airplane or build a new airplane rather than, rather than replacing the broken part or scrapping it away or adding on now, stuff like that, sure, right? But the dark side about this is that there's actually a bit of lucrativeness in this. And that, what is that? When an airplane spoils, right? When the airplane spoils, it gets scrapped. Two things happen: is that it gets scrapped, or the company buys a new part to that part which has been broken down. Let's say for example, something happens with the wing. Is that the wing is removed and replaced with a new one, or they just look for the exact part which is spoiled, remove that part and replace it with probably a second hand one. And this is actually really really dangerous, because it can later affect the airplane while taking off, while in mid-air, while landing, and can be dangerous to passengers that are on board. And this is actually something that plane companies are actually trying to sort out very well, because let's take for example, in a car there are 30,000 unique parts, but in an airplane there are 350,000 unique parts. So building it from scratch will be like more money for them. So rather than doing that, they just prefer to, like, well, let's just buy second hand and replace it, and maybe when we get the money, the bigger money, we can try to get a new airplane to replace it, right? And there's one funny thing about this: where are all these beasts they were talking about? Where are the airplanes actually parked? Because you've gone to airport before, you've seen airport pictures, you actually don't see local down airplanes there, right? Well, there are places whereby they are being parked. There are dump yards for airplanes, and there's one particular one which holds over 4,000 military aircraft, both helicopters, Chinook helicopters, the F-15s, the F-16s, fighter jets, and a lot of military airplanes there. It's actually really really holding it there. They will see where they are being hid. One, we've seen why they are lucrative, and we've seen the lifespan. But the breaking down of airplanes do still have an advantage, and it's a really really massive advantage. Let's say for example, a airplane breaks down. What are they being used for? Companies have started coming up with greater ideas on what they can use broken down airplanes to do, and those ideas are actually really really brilliant. Like for example, McDonald's has an a restaurant, and that restaurant is what? It's an airplane. It's not like it's like an airplane. It's an airplane that was just like turned, painted, and converted to a store. People are starting to use airplanes, like broken down airplanes. They are buying it and are using it for better things, like a library, hotels, like just like a one night hotel that you can stay in and just lodge for over the night and then go your way. And it's actually going to be much more brilliant, because if you can see more of these ideas, then the breaking down of an airplane will actually be like a source of profit to the company, and also to the person that's also buying it, because of what they will use it for after. But the major solution I would just give to the companies making aircraft, buying new aircraft parts, is that rather than them buying from like a second hand place, why don't you just buy it directly from the company producing it? I don't know what you guys think, so let me know in the comment section below. And dropping a sub to the channel could actually be airy. Is that a word? Subscribe and I'll catch you guys in the very next.